before, so that should be starting now. Last thing I need to do is a hearing script. This basically will just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll go ahead and jump right into it. So this is the October 19th, 2022 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. I'm the Zoning Hearing Examiner for the City of Cincinnati, and I'll preside over this hearing. The case before us today is case number ZHUV220013. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and supplemental rules of the Zoning Hearing Examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If there were anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to testify after the applicant had presented its case. I'll give the zoning planning examiner, Trey Sheldon, an opportunity to provide any testimony that he would like. In the event that any party were to testify or offer argument in opposition to this application, the applicant would have an opportunity to rebut that testimony, and then finally the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. So for our purposes here today, I'll give the two women from the school an opportunity and Ms. Meyer an opportunity to tell me about this project, why I should grant it, and any background they think is important for me to understand about the project. And you all can orient that presentation any way you'd like. One or all of you can speak in any order you would like. I'll go to Trey. I'll allow you guys to respond to anything Trey said. I'll ask some questions in the way, and then you guys can make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions and make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties with Zoom, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there's some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. And so if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comment, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing, the zoning code requires me to swear you in. So if that's you, if you could take yourself off of mute at this time. I need everyone to raise their right hand and answer out loud. If anyone, one of you has to testify. Can you all hear me? If you could take yourself off mute if you intend on testifying. And raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, I do.
Okay, Ms. Meyer, I'm having some trouble with your connection. Looks like you're freezing up a little bit here and there. I couldn't see or hear you on that, so I'm not sure if you intend to testify here today, but if you do, I'll have to swear you back in. Is that just on my end? Trey, if you could help me out here.
No, it's me too. I'm seeing, yeah, it's like her screen's freezing up.
Okay. All right, so let's see, are either Ms. Hedden or, I'm sorry, Porche, is that right?
Yes, that is correct. Porche.
Are either of you, were you going to primarily rely on Ms. Meyer's testimony for this hearing?
Is this up and running? Can you hear me?
There she is.
I can hear you. Yeah, it's still a little dodgy, but I mean we can try to get through it. Ms.
Okay.
Meyer, oftentimes if are you on a computer right now?
I'm on a laptop.
Okay. Oftentimes if there's a Wi-Fi issue, I don't know, sometimes cell phones work better. We can try to get it started and see how far we get. But yeah, it is still a little choppy. So Ms. Meyer, I'm sorry, could you raise your right hand? You solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so today I'm with ABC Signs. We have put in an application for Ether Taylor Academy to install a new monument sign. And we have actually reduced the size since the original application to make it fit within the 20 square feet that is allowed per code. The only additional thing that we are asking for, and this meeting is for, is the electronic message center, which has illumination. specifically for the illumination, there is no properties directly abutting this property that would cause any kind of issues as far as the illumination goes. And this would just allow the school to share any information that they need to on the fly. They can change it as needed. We can make sure the message is only changed every so often. I think it's usually seconds at a minimum. And we can always, they also have a dimmer available. So at, certain times at night, if the city would decide it would prefer it to not be quite as bright, we can schedule that to make sure the lights, dim at a certain period of time. But just in general, they're just trying to stay up with the times and really trying to keep their school updated and looking very nice. And this monument sign will kind of give them a start into doing all of that. So yeah, just in general today, we are just asking for the new monument sign with the electronic message center. Otherwise, it does fit to code size and height wise and setback. We will be doing a minimum of a 12-foot setback from the property line. And Irene or Pia, if you'd like to add anything, you're more than welcome.
Sure, go ahead. Ms. Henry.
Thank you so much. One of the things that we found during the period of the pandemic, as well as in the area that we live in, many of our parents are without either a cellular device and or a home telephone. So it is imperative that we have a communication way of being able to share critical information regarding our school, regarding health information, regarding community events. So this particular marquee or kiosk would give us the opportunity to display information at the minute so that our parents are able to see emergency information that's going on here at the school, information regarding their students' education, as well as any community events that would happen. We are a community learning center, which means we have mental health services here. We partner with Cincinnati Children's Hospital. We also have school social work here. So we are the community base for the South Cumminsville, North Cumminsville, and Millville Moosewood area. So our families rely on Ethel Taylor Academy for a basis of their information. So this particular marquee would assist in many, many ways when it comes to communicating with our families.
Okay, thank you. So is the majority of the student body from South, North Cumminsville, and Millville?
Yes, they are. And the Beekman area, as you know, if you travel up and down this street, this is the main thoroughfare where everybody would drive through. So that on-time media, them being able to see that at the drop of a dime would give us the opportunity to be able to communicate with them.
Great. Generally my main concern with these is any adverse visual impact or potential adverse visual impact on residential properties. And so I'm wondering, and this is for anyone, if you anticipate that there will be some, lack of a better word, light pollution on nearby residences.
Yeah, so the International Sign Association states that the most illumination foot-wise you'll get from an electronic message center, that is the size that we are proposing at the 15 square feet, is actually 35 feet. So the most that light is going to pollute is going to be 35 to 40 feet at the most. And the position that we've placed this along Fricke Rd is basically in the middle of their property. So that positioning kind of allowed us to get away from the residential to eliminate those issues.
Gotcha. Okay. You said this, so this sign will be on Fricke Rd?
Let me verify.
No, it's actually fronting Beekman Street. Fricke Rd is to Fricke Rd is further down where the front of the school is. You could see on the staff report, I have a aerial.
Yeah,
My apologies on that.
sure. And so I do see some what looks like houses or condos there, right behind the playground and basketball courts. Do you think this sign will impact those properties at all?
I do not. The diagonal kind of output of the light source from where that's coming from and the extension of 35 to 40 feet, we are not going to be, I mean, yes, they may be able to see, you know, hey, there's a light over there, but it's not going to be anything that should cause any issues whatsoever.
Let's see. And what? Sure, Ms. Edinger, go ahead.
Actually, I believe you said that there will be a dimmer on the lights, Ms. Mayor.
That can be absolutely installed. Well, so all of them have the capability nowadays. You know, technology just continues to advance. So all of those electronic message centers do have that dimmer. So yes, for those properties you were just speaking about, especially with a dimmer, that should not be a problem.
So the positioning where this kiosk will be, there is a circle where our buses usually come.
Okay.
Lots of crime happens right here in this circle. So one of the beauty pieces of this is that there will give our camera system some lighting right there, because at times when crime happens, the kids may sometimes hit rocks at the lights and you are unable to see what's happening on our cameras. Cincinnati police at times, when we go back to try to look at like some of the footage of what's happened, there's not enough lighting back there. So this will also give just a little bit of lighting so that we will be able to see what's happening on our property. But I can tell you, just being able to tell you what the how dark sometimes it is back there, there's not a lot of light that even comes off of the street lights where you can see in the apartment complex. So from a safety standpoint for the school, I can tell you that that is going to give us and even the neighborhood right there in that area a lot of safety precautions, even for people who are walking through that area, because there's a neighborhood store right around the school. So I can say that that may be a good thing for the city of Cincinnati when it comes to safety.
Okay. On the safety note, how quickly will this sign be changing? Will there be any moving elements or any flashing elements to this sign that may distract drivers or motorists that are passing by?
So we, as a sign company, never encourage, the flashing or very quick changes, because we are aware that can cause issues for drivers. So typically we stick with that 8-second rule. Many places typically do much longer than that. It just depends on how many messages you have to display and how quickly you're trying to share that information. I mean, I guess, one car driving by, 8 seconds is all it's really going to take. They're going to have to see that message in that period of time. But yes, to answer your question in short, yes, we can specify no flashing, no moving too quickly. However, we need to do that for a conditional approval. We'd be more than happy to do that.
Okay. All right. I think I'll give our zoning plans examiner, Trey Sheldon, an opportunity to weigh in here with any additional testimony if you'd like.
Sure, David. For one thing, the zoning code does restrict, it does not allow moving or flashing. In fact, it requires a 10-second interval between that.
Okay.
So a lot of times they kind of fade from one image to another or something, just like you would on your, if you were doing a slide deck on your computer screen. So it's not all choppy and jumpy. But anyhow, there's a 10-second interval requirement in the zoning code. Yeah, I agree with them that I don't think that there should be much visual impact to it's about 152 feet to the closest the closest residential property, and it's the back of the properties, by the way, that's the back of the dwellings. So the closest one at 1919 Millville Court is about 152 feet ballpark away from the proposed location of the sign. And there is at least some vegetation there, some bushes and so on, and it looks like part of the playground equipment might obscure some of the view of the sign for those folks. And then obviously, as you go further away, either northward up that row of apartments or further west, you're just going to be that much further incrementally. You know, then you'll be 200 feet or 250 feet. So the closest distance is about 152 to 1919, which is the southeasternmost of the residences. Beyond that, I mean, I don't know whether either one of the Ms. Heaton or Ms. Porcher would speak to it or not, but I don't know how illuminated it is across the way in this industrial area. But I mean, this is directly across from it's directly across from a major truck loading zone. So, you know, as opposed to it being directly across from a residential community, I mean, I don't foresee that there's any, you know, there's going to be any adverse effects here. I don't see that. And it does provide the school with identification as well, because they don't have an existing ground sign. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that there's currently wall signage identifying the academy and the name of the person who's honored, Ms. Taylor, with the name of the school. And that is only visible probably once you're, you know, heading
in the parking lot,
heading northbound, or yeah, you're already in the parking lot off Fricke Rd at that point, David. It's on the west portion of the school, up on the wall, and so you know, especially people coming from the north, this is going to identify the school and serve a wayfinding capacity, as they do have two, as the ladies mentioned. There's kind of the bus queue area to the north, but then the parking's to the south. So, you know, sometimes these things don't serve a wayfinding capacity, but I can certainly find that it legitimately does here. There's no existing ground sign, and it's going to help identify the school for vehicular or pedestrian traffic.
Okay. Thanks very much, Trick. Yes, Ms. Porcher.
I just wanted to add to what Mr. Sheldon was saying, that we have a lot of times, because there is a Head Start that's up Millville, we have a lot of times where people come to our school trying to deliver things that don't belong to us, because there's literally no signage that says anything about Ethel Taylor, unless, like I said, you come into the parking lot to see the sign. So we get mistaken for daycare, community center. So we do a lot of redirecting in the office, like, oh no, this is not the address you're looking for. You need to go at the light, turn up the street. So it would definitely help with people with their wayfinding. And like Mr. Sheldon was also saying, there's right across the street from us is all industrial places. And so it's going to assist with our neighbor, you know, our families being able to see, and just those people who are looking for our school or something else will be able to see directly, oh, okay, this is.
I did have one practical thing to add. This is a consideration, not really so much as to the zoning, but Ms. Heaton mentioned that there's some vandalism, and you know, if they're throwing rocks at lights and stuff, or chunks of stone or something, you might want to work with Ms. Meyer to make sure that this has some sort of protective plexiglass or something over the screen, so that you don't end up with a multi-$1,000 sign, you know, trashed. So you might take special precaution. It's just a thought. And you'd want to have that as part of the building permit. You know, if it's going to have something like that, the building plan examiner should know that if there's going to be, you know, a casing around this or some kind of protective plexiglass or something. Just a thought.
Thanks, Trey. Okay, anything else in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
I did not have anything else unless Pierre or Miss Irene did.
No, I don't. Thank you guys so much for your time and consideration. We certainly appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for your testimony, your talking here today as well. I've had a chance to review the application materials. I'm familiar with the area. Based on that, the staff report and testimony that I've heard here today, I'm going to approve the application. I need to formalize that in a written decision. That's typically what takes a couple weeks. As soon as I finish that, I put it into a PDF and I email it to everybody who's at the hearing here today. So you all will have a copy of that decision really just moments after it's complete. You can't move forward with the permitting until you have a copy of that decision. And so as soon as you get that email, you can work with Trey and we can approve the permitting so you guys can move forward.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Sure. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you
about
so
any of that?
much. No, sir. I think we're clear. Thank you.
Great. Well, in the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly if you'd like, or if you'd like a status update on the decision, you can email me or call me there.
Thank you.
I really
Have a great day.
appreciate it.
Thank you all. Good luck with the project.
Okay, everybody.
Bye.